over a year ago, Madeline Mann joined my Zero to Influence YouTube Bootcamp with roughly 14,000 YouTube subscribers. Today, she has over 80,000 YouTube subscribers. And in this interview, she talks about exactly what happened and what she did to help her grow so quickly the past year. And if you're interested in the Zero to Influence YouTube Bootcamp that we talk about, there is a link in the description below. Enjoy this interview. Mwah.
You gave me some really good pointers of some things that I could really make more cohesive. You have very specific ways that you interact with us, and it's very clear, but it's also very accessible. You're crazy good at coming up with thumbnails and titles. Like, it is a true gift. Like, you're amazing.
It's always a treat for me when I get to feature one of my bootcamp students. So this is a treat for me, and I can't wait to dive into your experience with the bootcamp, what's happened so far, some really exciting things with you and your channel. So why don't we get started with you just kind of sharing a brief little history of you and your YouTube channel, like what you're all about and your YouTube channel.
I am an HR professional, human resources, and I was the head of human resources at a tech company. And so I was the one who was reading all the resumes, hearing all the feedback after interviews, in the back rooms, hearing, which employees were going to be promoted. And I thought if only job seekers and professionals knew this information, they would make much better decisions in their career. And so I started helping people individually. I would respond to applications, giving them feedback, whatnot. And I quickly realized that this was not the way to help people. People do not like unsolicited feedback. It was really tiring. And so I took to video and I took to YouTube because I love video as a medium. I looked out and saw what was out there in the career coaching realm, and I thought that there wasn't really content for someone who has a personality like me, who likes things to be a little bit wacky, likes things to be very actionable, very fast-paced. And so I founded my channel, Made Millennial, in October of 2017.
That's awesome. And now, 3 years later, you just hit 50,000 subscribers. So really excited to talk to you about that. Prior to the bootcamp, where were you at with your channel?
So prior to the boot camp, it's been about maybe 8 months or so, and where I was I was doing well on my channel, right? I had, maybe close to 10,000 subs or somewhere around there, or maybe around in that realm, and I was just feeling like I was putting so much effort into these videos. They were really high quality, but it's like, it's not just making high quality content on YouTube that helps you to win. And I was like stuck on getting over that hump of, okay, how do I really make sure that, this content that I really believe in and that people are getting these amazing results from, how do I make sure it sees more people? And so that's really what was the trigger for me to join bootcamp.
Yeah, because would you say you were consistent with your channel at that time?
Really consistent. Yep. A video a week, high quality, and just the testimonials were phenomenal. It's like, how do I break out and really get this going even faster and farther?
Yeah. That's right. Because so you were somebody who was already committed to your YouTube, and you're like, I'm consistent, I'm doing all the things, but it sounded like you just weren't seeing the results.
Exactly.
And how were you feeling surrounding that?
My feelings were that I just knew that the impact that could be made with my videos was greater than the impact it was making then. I was still, I was still getting great views and things were still good, but I just knew that looking out there and seeing what other content was out there, I was like, I can one up this. Like I can really make this reach. And so it was kind of like, okay, how do I kind of break the code here, crack the code.
Yeah. I remember you were doing good content, but it just wasn't getting out there. So tell me, what was it like for you going through the bootcamp?
I think for me, the things that really stood out was, I think I spend so much time on my content, but the thumbnail and the title were the things that I was really doing as more of an afterthought. And it's so crazy to have that light bulb moment of, wow, I should be creating these before I even start shooting. I should be really doing this in tandem. I should be putting a lot of focus into that and creating multiple versions and really testing and making sure that I'm putting my best foot forward so that this content that I know can change lives actually gets clicked on. So I'd taken other YouTube courses before, but I think that was really my light bulb moment of, there was tips on put this in your thumbnail or that or this, but like the literal feedback from you is like priceless. Like that is what I needed to, because I'm too close to things sometimes. You're too close to your content. So to get that feedback was really kind of got me over this hump.
Yeah, you've been great. I always say that with the boot camp, you're only going to get so much out of it that you put into it. And you definitely make it to a lot of the calls. You're super active in the Facebook group. I mean, you're like, hey, what do I do with the thumbnail? So what are your thoughts around kind of that whole process?
Well, so Erika, so I have my own digital courses, and actually you've kind of set the bar for what I want to be in digital courses. So you have very specific ways that you interact with us, and it's very clear, but it's also very accessible. So it's like if I need to get over something, I just created my thumbnails, yesterday, and I need to post by tomorrow or something like that, and we don't have a group call coming up, like you are proactive and just kind of giving some quick feedback, and it helps to be able to kind of move quickly and be like, okay, and have that gut check or have that, quick exchange. And so that is the part that I've really liked. And that's something that I've brought into my own courses of how can I help people just kind of get over that quick hump in a way that really helps them to like keep that momentum.
Yeah, and I'm so glad, and it always makes me feel good when I hear my students really appreciate that, because for me, I've definitely had the thought, and you being a course creator as well, is like I've had the thought, and especially you taking other courses, I'm sure you've seen other ways that courses are created or the framework of them, but I've thought, maybe I have some great systems, the course itself, workbooks and videos, separate that out and just sell that, because that would be a lot easier, right? Because it definitely takes time for me to do these coaching calls and to give all the feedback in the Facebook group. But ultimately, then I go back to my why. We talk about the why a lot in the bootcamp. And my whole purpose and mission is really for people to see results. And I realize that, like you mentioned, where so many of my students see many results is because there is actual feedback.
I'm not really alone in it anymore. I mean, there's certain things, I have a video editor, I have this, I have that. But as far as like an expert giving me feedback on the most important parts of my video, like I feel like I came into the program, I was pretty solid with like my content. You gave me some really good pointers of some things that I could really make more cohesive. And then really having someone with that, you're crazy good at coming up with thumbnails and titles. Like it is a true gift. Like you're amazing. And it's really obvious when you look at the numbers that the ones that you have your fingerprints on do better.
And I love how you're proactive. I mean, a lot of my students, they'll be in there like you, and they're in there and they put their thumbnails and I was like, use me. You're part of the course. Use me. And it's funny. It's like you obviously love what you do with your HR and working with professionals and helping them get jobs. And for me, it's like I could do thumbnails and titles morning, noon, and night. I love them. It's so fun for me. And I love, you always bring yours on. I'm like, all right, what can we do with this one? It's fun. And you're always open to feedback, which I love. So what was the biggest breakthrough that you had when you went through the boot camp?
The biggest breakthrough, I loved, what's that phrase you use for how you connect with your audience?
The OCET?
Yes.
Camera energy transfer?
Yes. So that I think is, you really put a name to it. And I think that's been what I've been striving for on my channel. And I think that that's something I'm good at. But I also think that that's why I've gotten so many good opportunities, is that piece. Is people say, Madeline, you're so comfortable on camera. that's why we want to do this interview for Bloomberg. That's why we want to put you on this TV show. That's why they say it. And so I think that piece is something that a lot of people don't talk about, and it's like so crucial. So that was really big. And then I think really before your course, I would always create one thumbnail, and I'd be like, this is my thumbnail, this is great. Now I create 6 thumbnails. I create a bunch of them, and I don't just stop myself after one and be like, well, that was good. No, I say, Madeline, I know you like that first one, but I want to see you create 4 more. And then it's amazing because sometimes the first one's the best, but sometimes it's the 5th one that's the best. And so really taking that time to put in that energy for thumbnails as much energy as I put into the actual content.
And so do you create those several thumbnails because you know those are all the ones that you're going to post in the Facebook group and get feedback from, or are you testing different ones, or do you feel like with each version it gets better? Like what's your point of creating all those different thumbnails for one video?
Yeah, so the point is, first of all, to push myself to not settle like just on the first idea. Second is to, instead of maybe having you or other people in the group have to invent the entire thing yourself, to give you some options, to give you some inspiration, because I know it's easier to react than create, right? Mm-hmm. So kind of giving other people some inspiration to give me even better feedback. And that's really, those are the kind of the pieces that inspired me to just work a little bit harder on it.
Yeah, and that's interesting that you mention it, because now that I think about it, that's one of the things I do enjoy about critiquing your thumbnails, because it's true. You actually do provide like 4 or 5. Now that I think about it, I'm like, and a couple of the other people in the group do that too. They'll have like a bunch of different versions of it. And it does make my job easier, because now I'm able to see, oh, I like what she did in this one, but you know what? Let's combine it with this one and then change the text to this and then change the title to this to make it all this cohesive thing. So yeah, it's definitely a process.
Completely.
So what would you say helped you most inside of the boot camp?
I would say, first of all, I loved how there were check-in points at each chapter. Now, me going through the whole course, that was a while ago, but now as I'm thinking back, that's actually something that I've integrated into my own courses, is giving people an assignment and then saying, put it in the Facebook group, and I want to give you feedback on that assignment. And I think that what that does is it creates community, it creates, gets great feedback. You kind of, instead of just taking your word for it and just be like, okay, I'm going to create this in isolation and hope that it's right. And the feedback you give, I mean, people do make changes. It's not there is that feedback nature is really helpful. And so I think that was really helpful for me, not only as a course participant, but also as a course creator.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm sure, you being a course creator, you're looking and saying, okay, what can I apply to mine? I mean, I've done that too. I've definitely taken other courses and I've taken things like, oh, that's a really good idea, or oh, I can do that. So I'm glad to hear that those check-in points are helpful, because I know that one of the big reasons why people do join the bootcamp, it's really, yes, there's so much feedback, there's a lot of information, but it's also this sense of accountability and community, that you're doing your homework assignment for this week and you put it in the Facebook group, and now myself, and the other people in there can take a look at it and provide their feedback.
Exactly.
Yeah. So was there a point where like you said, I think you're around 10,000. So you had been on YouTube for several years before you joined the boot camp. And I think it was around February. I can't remember the exact date. Was it January or February?
Yes, I think that sounds about right, because I think I've been in the boot camp for about 8 months now.
Yeah. So you're around 10,000 subscribers. Now you just hit 50,000. So is there at any point that your channel took off, or what did that look like for you?
Yeah, it has definitely been in recent months. When I joined the boot camp, I think I was growing by 1,500 subs a month or something, really steady. Then after a few months, it jumped up to about 3,000. Now I'm growing at 6,000 a month or so. And so it's been this very kind of steady, kind of snowball effect over the months, where it's just been increasing and increasing.
And why do you think that is? That it's kind of started to almost snowball?
I think I mean, I think there's also the nature of just more and more people are hearing about me, my presence on other platforms, and then just also, yeah, making sure that my game is really strong for every video that comes out. Every video is a new opportunity to capture, more new people and more new search terms and more interest. And so I think I'm strategic. I have these other platforms that attract people to it, and I think there's a lot of word of mouth that's happening.
Yeah, that's awesome. And do you think your kind of more attention to your thumbnails and titles have anything to do with that too?
Oh yeah, definitely. The those have definitely had a glow up for sure.
And then, so then when your channel took off for you and you started to see this momentum, like what changed for you in your mind, like about YouTube or about as a platform or as a job or as a way to generate an income?
It was really cool when I started, yeah, getting a lot more traction on my videos, and then I started monetizing them more. I realized that I had been putting just kind of ads around them and not putting ads on them. And once I flicked all of the ads on them, to appear before the video or whatnot, that was when I was like, oh wow, YouTube ads can be lucrative, especially when you have over 100 videos that are out there, doing work. So that was a really cool breakthrough. The exposure has been incredible. So like I said before, with my personality on screen, that is what has really captured a lot of the opportunities. I had Harvard Business Review, who has a YouTube channel of 300,000 people. We just did a video last week together that's going to be on their channel. Bloomberg, I'm doing an interview with them to talk about interview stuff. And just all these other opportunities. I've had multiple production studios asked to do TV shows with me. And what this is really, like, there are other career coaches out there. There are other career YouTubers out there. And it's never even like an interview process. They're saying, like, we want you, will you do it? And to me, that has really been incredible, because it's like the YouTube channel is all they need to know that I'm okay on screen. That's all they need. Like they don't need to check any credentials. They're like, you do this. And this is what the person who worked at the production studio says, that your YouTube channel is proof that you can show up on camera and knock it out of the park every time. And that's what studios are looking for. And that's what these major networks are looking for. And so that has been really cool with YouTube, is that, you're not hiding behind text. Like you're exposed. And so people can really see what you're made of. And that's when pretty crazy opportunities come your way.
That's so cool. So yeah, how did the thing with Harvard Business Review and Bloomberg, how did that come about?
I don't even know, Erika. They just said that they found me on YouTube. And then even the Harvard Business Review folks, they said that there's two people who are like the main people on it. And they said they both found me separately and both wanted to work with me. And so I don't know if they're typing things. I know, like, for the, one of the production studios, they just typed in like millennial career or something like that. And I guess I was the first one to pop up, or I was the one that they liked that they popped up. Like, I don't know how these folks, I'll have to dig in deeper, but it's pretty amazing. They just say YouTube. And I'm like, okay.
Well, that's it. They found you through YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, and so then they just emailed you and said, hey, Madeline, we saw you on YouTube. We would love, we're Harvard Business Review. We want to do an interview with you. And boom, that's it, huh?
That's it. And sometimes it comes in through like an Instagram DM. Like, you never know where it's coming.
Yeah. I mean, that's really, really cool. So, I mean, one question that I have is that, you are on a lot of different platforms. Would you say, I mean, you're on TikTok, you're on Instagram, LinkedIn.
Yep.
Would you say that YouTube what would you say how YouTube compares to some of those other platforms when it comes to getting your name out there?
Yes. For YouTube, it is a lot easier to be discovered, because a lot of my traffic comes from people who are just exactly as that production studio did. Like, they just typed in millennial careers or something like that, where you can just be easily discovered because of all the SEO that's happening there. For a platform like LinkedIn and TikTok, it's stumble upon content. So it's more of like they have to come upon you. And once they come upon you, they might fall in love with you. But YouTube is kind of like this evergreen place where you're putting stuff out into the internet, and people are able to, when they have a certain need, like, you're the one who shows up in their search bar or on their, on their YouTube page.
Yeah. It's great. And so how has this growth of your YouTube channel, from 10,000 to 50,000 subscribers in a relatively short amount of time, how has that affected your business?
So it has, the thing that's been incredible is, and I also do like coaching and stuff, which is also a part of my courses, is that people know they want to work with me. Like, I don't have to sell myself and explain how I work or the way I am. People just know my personality because of how I show up on YouTube. And so that's been really interesting. And of course, really building lead magnets into my YouTube, always giving away a free gift during my videos. It just has, built my email list considerably as well.
Wow. And so how many students have you been able to enroll in your programs as a result of your YouTube channel?
Oh, I mean, hundreds of students. Yeah, it's been incredible.
That's awesome. That's amazing. And this is what you do full time now. You're basically a social influencer on YouTube, on different platforms, and basically an HR coach with your courses and your coaching.
Yeah, so I actually still work in HR.
Oh, okay.
Well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's cool. So you're doing this as like a whole side hustle.
Yeah, so it is, it's my own personal business, and I'm able to outsource parts of it and all that stuff, and I'm able to be in my human resources job every day with a front row seat. So I love them both, so that's why it's been really the dream for me.
And so what is your overall goal with your YouTube channel and with your online business?
So I have really been trying to figure out how can I help the most people at scale. So really moving, I've moved farther away from one-on-one coaching into course creation and really working with people in a very similar way that you work with people of let's still give people that personal touch, but let's make sure that this is, there isn't this massive barrier to entry of these people who really want these great results. And so that has really been my thing of, really putting just my highest quality hours into this business and trying to scale it.
Well, that's awesome. And I think you have a really, really bright future ahead of you. What is your biggest piece of advice for someone who wants to succeed on YouTube?
I would say spend as much time on your title and thumbnail as you do on the content. Just don't sleep on that. Really understand how you are phrasing your titles and make sure that it speaks to what people are looking for versus what you think is a cool topic. Really thinking about what do people need, and then bringing your true self and really getting comfortable in front of the camera. I don't think half of the opportunities that have come my way would have come to me had I not gotten through those really tough times of me being awkward in front of the camera and kind of barreled through them and really taken time to get comfortable and speak to my true fan.
Awesome. I love that. And then what would you tell somebody who is on the fence or thinking about joining the bootcamp?
I think it's not will it work for you, it's will you work for it. Put in the work. If you're not ready to put in the work, maybe it's not for you. But if you're ready to put in the work, if you hear these results I have or other people who come on this podcast have, and you want it for yourself, it is attainable. It's hard work. 3 years later, and I've been learning along the way, and it's you can either spend money or you can spend time, right? And time is something you can never get back. And so I'm all about speeding up the curve, really making these opportunities rain. And so that's really, if you're ready, you got to go for it.
You're saying invest in yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm a big believer of, it's kind of, I think that time versus money. It's you could spend some money and get direct feedback so you can make immediate changes, or you could experiment on your own for the next year or two.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I build digital courses, but I consume digital courses insane, so many, right? It's because it's the secret. It's the secret to why would I go off and do this on my own when there's an expert like you saying, hey, you can get access to me. It's just really, it's a shortcut. And so, I'm a total digital course junkie, and you're one of the reasons why.
Oh, thank you. And so as somebody who is a digital course junkie, who's taken other YouTube courses, how would you say the bootcamp is different than some of the other ones out there?
It was a lot more hands-on than other courses I've taken. The other ones, one of them was like completely hands-off. Another one was very tactical with, the SEO stuff, which was super helpful. But the instructor was completely hands-off. And with you, it was like, okay, I could really be in a community, get feedback. And I think that especially at the point that I was at where I was having good success, it was almost like I needed something a bit more. Like I needed your kind of push to get that extra push of more than just like tactical, okay, here's how you do YouTube.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm glad. I'm so glad that you signed up when you did and really was able to help you kind of get to that next level and see these incredible opportunities that you got. I mean, I'm just so excited to hear from you when you say I had this person reach out, because for me, that's my goal. I see YouTube as a jumping off point to to an extent it can be a means to an end. Like you can be a YouTuber and be very, very, very successful. But what's incredible about YouTube is that it leads to so many opportunities because the visibility of people being able to find you is huge. And you don't even have to have a huge channel. I mean, how many subscribers were you at when Huffington, or who was it, Harvard Business Review or Bloomberg reached out to you? What, like around 40,000 or 45,000 subscribers?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you don't have to have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of subscribers. You just have to have enough so that you just have to have somebody find you.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I'm up against people in the career space that have hundreds of thousands more subscribers than me. And yet these opportunities are skipping over them and coming to me. And so it's really, really flattering.
Yeah. Well, that's incredible. What's your number one viewed video and how much did you make from that video?
So it's my how to answer behavioral interview questions. That one has about 175,000 views, and on AdSense I've made about $890 or so on it.
Awesome. Well, Madeline, this has been so amazing, and hearing your journey on YouTube and how the bootcamp helped kind of push you along. Thank you so much for sharing that with everybody. And obviously it's a huge pleasure for me, because I can see your success. So I just feel like I've always been like in your corner since we first met and wanting the best for you. And for people that are listening or watching and they want to check you out, where can they find you?
Yes, so YouTube, Self-Made Millennial, youtube.com/Self-Made Millennial, TikTok at Self-Made Millennial, Instagram, again, Self-Made Millennial, and then follow me also on LinkedIn, Madeline Mann.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Madeline.
Thank you.
Bye.